shocking statement. The raids didn't end the crisis. They forced an evolution. After Operation Red Harvest and the internal purge of Black Lantern, analysts spotted 3 ID-less vessels slipping across Lake Erie. That's not retreat. That's redesign. In the next minutes, we unpack how a cartel that lost 3.8 tons of product turned to the Great Lakes and why federal teams quietly shifted north. If you want to understand adaptive threats, not headlines, you're in the right place. This is the chessboard after the first punch, and the next move is already underway. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. 3 dark hulls cut a straight line across Lake Erie with no IDs, no lights, and no chatter you could pick up on a public channel. After highways got hammered, why steer the lifeline onto cold water lanes where every mistake floats? Because the raids torched cash, seized stockpiles, and exposed the safe hands inside government that smoothed deliveries. The network lost warehouses, currency managers, and drivers who knew which way stations to skip. That break in rhythm forced a redesign. Inventory doesn't wait. Buyers don't pause invoices. So the cartel shifted north and looked for a lane with fewer fixed eyes. Roads were bad math. Marked units sat at on-ramps. Unmarked cars camped near logistics hubs, and license plate readers stitched together movements in minutes. The air wasn't safer. Persistent ISR meant patrol planes, drones, and tasking that treated every hop over a known corridor like a beacon. The northern border, though, sprawls across 5,500 miles of lakes, rivers, and shorelines. Coverage lives in pieces. State patrol here, county boats there, a Coast Guard sector stretched across multiple ports, and CBP Marine units that can't sit everywhere at once. That patchwork creates timing gaps, and timing is a route. Lake Erie at night is an alleyway if you know where to turn. Low-profile boats run from small marinas, launch between closing time and bar checks, and hug the darker water outside recreational lanes. Short hops keep the run under an hour. 20 minutes after docking, crews strip tarps, move duffels, and slide pallets into farm trucks with magnetic placards. A local with a fuel card pays cash at the bait shop and leaves the receipt under a name that never books a hotel. By dawn, the trucks roll county roads that don't have winter salt yet, lights off long enough to slip one town over before merging into normal traffic. Water appeals because choke points spread out. There's no single checkpoint like a toll plaza. You trade troopers with radar guns for radio hails that you can ignore if you look civilian enough. Jurisdictions overlap in ways that slow reaction. A cutter needs a reason to chase a boat that looks like a maintenance skiff. A sheriff has authority near the pier, but not beyond the channel. CBP cares about customs violations, while state DNR focuses on fishing regs and registration. That mix buys minutes, and minutes move weight. This playbook isn't new to the lakes. Cigarette runners built fortunes shuttling untaxed cartons between small harbors. Cross-border weapons cases used fishing holds with false floors. Contraband moved in ice chests and bait buckets, then into vans with cargo paperwork that matched the season. Swap cigarettes for precursor chemicals and the workflow stays the same. Short transits, quiet piers, fast transfers, clean titles on the vehicles. A DHS maritime analyst keyed on anomalies first. Automatic identification system traffic went dark along a strip where it usually blips from pleasure craft. Thermal sensors picked up wakes that were too clean for fishing speeds, too flat for empty hulls. The same unlit channel near a decommissioned dock recorded repeated small wakes between 1 and 3 in the morning. That pattern doesn't prove cargo, but it builds a map of places that don't sleep. If 3 boats moved once, assume more. First runs test timing, callouts, and handoffs. Each transit helps them chart the minutes between a pier light flicking on and a patrol unit clearing the ramp. They watch who responds, how fast, and from which side of the lake. Those notes build a routing model tighter than any highway plan, because the variables are fewer and the observers are scattered. The mini payoff is simple. The lakes grant concealment, speed, and plausible deniability. When a network is under pressure, water turns into a quiet highway with exits everywhere. With that choice made, the federal map rotates north, and the response shows up with clean polos, rental contracts, and credentials that open marina gates without a badge on the belt. Elite teams land in Michigan wearing polos and badges that say vendor, not federal. Why send hostage rescue units into a maritime smuggling fight? Because the lakes reward proximity, and the people steering this network won't be grabbed on open water. They're on dock edges, in marina offices, and in short-term rentals within a block of the slips. The mission shifts from bulk seizures to quiet collection and timed arrests. Interdiction stays on the table, but the priority becomes watching the right people long enough to follow their money and their calls. The pivot to water means the response must act in layers. Coast Guard holds the visible lane with boardings and safety checks. CBP Air and Marine rides the air tracks and fast boats. State DNR boats own the close-in lanes where registration and fishing regs offer lawful stops. FBI elements plug into the gaps with warrants and patient surveillance. Everyone gets small windows to act. Hit too early and sources go cold. Hit too late and cargo melts into farm trucks and rental storage. The trick is synchronizing movement so one agency's stop doesn't spook a higher value target that another team is watching 3 slips away. HRT blends under civilian cover to sit right beside the fuel pumps and the laundry room bulletin boards. They sign month-to-month office space near the harbor as tech services, roll low-visibility vans with contractor magnets, and rent slips through NGO partners that do water safety outreach. The cover explains odd hours and gear cases. It gives line of sight to who shows up at odd times, who pays cash for diesel at midnight, who changes propellers without logging a repair ticket. If a capture order lands, they can move from observer to arrest team in minutes without dragging a stack of uniforms through a marina. The kit stays small and quiet. Thermal imagers bolt to fixed piers with city permits under infrastructure maintenance. Passive RF sensors sit near gangways to catch the chatter of handhelds, cheap push-to-talks, and encrypted walkies. Drones lift briefly when refuel cycles line up with known slip assignments and land before anyone calls the tower. Coverage builds a timeline. Who meets, how long they stay, and where they drive after the lights cut. Authority shapes tempo. Title 14 covers Coast Guard boardings and safety enforcement on the water. Title 19 covers customs authorities for cross-border movement and cargo questions. Title 18 carries the criminal warrants and the arrest power for the planners who never touch a duffel. Blend them, and you keep cases clean. A visible safety stop on the channel becomes a legal reason for contact, while a covert team on shore holds the thread that leads to the routing manager. Controlled buys evolve into controlled handoffs. Instead of cash for product in a parking lot, a duffel moves from a skiff to a truck while a camera watches and a tracker pings. The aim is not the bag. It's the person who arranged the driver, leased the truck, and paid the dockhand. Those are the survivors after the purge, and they rebuild networks if they're left alone. The Northern Border Response Group lights up fusion cells. Analysts flag bank activity tied to fuel purchases that spike after midnight, card swipes at marinas that don't match boat registrations, and sudden runs on night vision gear at regional retailers. Each flag cues a site visit or a drone hop. HRT rides the gray space here. Surveillance first, warrant-backed takedown second, using civilian fronts to stand closer to the docks than uniforms can without burning cover. The raid's bruised muscle. This phase goes after the nervous system. The planners and paymasters who keep schedules tight and ledgers clean. Their next mistake isn't a boat running hot. It's a signature on a rental slip they think no one is reading. The first punch broke inventory and cover. The counterpunch targets routes and the people who design them. Cold water lanes, quiet marinas, and clean bank accounts form the battlefield now. The leadership didn't vanish. It adapted, which means pressure must track movement, not headlines. Demand receipts. Ask for transparent warrants, interagency reporting, and data that separates real interdictions from theater. Like, share, and comment to keep oversight loud and measurable. Raids make headlines. Adaptation decides outcomes. The lakes are the new line. Watch what moves after dark, who pays for it, and which slips keep their lights off when the patrol boat passes.